Well, I did. Sunglasses
There's a whole bit.
I'll invite everyone to come as close as you'd like. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. For those, I think I know almost every single one of you here, but for those I don't know, my name is Jody Hilderman. I'm Auntie Alva's niece, and I'm Bonnie. I'm Bonnie's daughter, and Clinton Craig asked me to say a few words today. So thank you, Clinton Craig. It really is an honor to be here. So this table here, just to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about what we have here at the table. So we have Auntie Alva with us here. Oh, sorry. That's okay. So we have candle holders here that were given by Clinton Craig to their aunties, Auntie Eunice and Auntie Avis. We have flowers on the side, and the flowers are here today to place on the gravestones of Grandma and Grandpa George, and of course Auntie Alva and Bonnie. So we'll do that in a minute. Later in the program or service, I will invite you to come up and share a memory if you like. There's also time later at the hall where we're going to gather for some fellowship, and we'll have a microphone set up there. So if you'd like to share some memories of Alva, you're welcome to do that as well. The stained glass here is a gift from Alva's brother Derry and his wife Joan to Clint and Craig, and to, I have to call you Auntie Eunice and Auntie Avis. That's just, I can't say Avis, and Uncle Brett from them. So those are for you, and then these two for the boys. We do have some programs here, so I'm going to take these and put them on either side, and then if you'd like to pass them around during the service, you're welcome to. Is it okay if Okay. Okay. Partway through the service, I will be asking anyone who would like to place some petals into the on top of the urn for Auntie Alva. You don't have to, but you are certainly welcome. So with that, we'll get started. Thank you all for coming to say until we see you again. Alva Belcourt, mother, sister, auntie, friend, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Today is about being thankful for having her in our lives, spending time together, like she always loved to do with all of us, and to place her in her resting place, here in her hometown where she spent her childhood and beside her parents, George and Kay. I invite you to bow your heads with me. With heavy hearts, we say goodbye to Alva. Any time is too soon, but that time has come for her to move on and for us to keep her alive in our memories. Thank you for all that Alva has meant to us, and for our memories of her, of which there are so many. We don't know what it is like to be where she is now, but we know that she's with those that she loves. Mike, Grandpa George and Grandma Kay, brothers Dale and Lane, Sister Lana and Bonnie, and many others. Thank you for the gift that Alva was to us. Amen. I'd now like to invite Uncle Brett, Auntie Eunice, Auntie Avis, and Jill to come up and place the flowers beside the gravestones that we have here today.
boys get this. Brett, you get it, Mom and Dad with us.
There we go. And for Auntie Alva.
That's for the boys.
Clint and Craig, can you please come up? Yeah, she's there. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Mm-hmm.
No, that's
Back there?
that goes to Bonnie.
You do it by your mom.
There we go.
I'm never the boss of me if you haven't noticed. You sure play along, kid. I do. I just do what I'm told.
Alva Marie was the fifth born in a family of 10. Her twin sister Avis was born first. She pointed out being the oldest her whole life. And actually, Alva was very proud to be the younger one. Alva was predeceased by her loving parents, George and Kathleen Belcourt, sisters Lana and Bonnie, brothers Dale, Lane, and Lorne, and her oldest son, Michael George Fiesel. Alva is survived by her twin sons, Clint and Craig, and Tara, and grandchildren, Peyton, Aiden, Asher, Faith, Carter, Christopher, and great-grandson, Elias. Surviving siblings, Derry, twin Avis, Brett, and baby sister, Eunice Nancy Gay. Numerous nieces, nephews, great-nieces, and great-nephews. Alva was raised on the family farm 3 miles from Strasbourg. We had many fond memories and, of course, many, many, many chores. Her specialty was baking the bread because Alva was the best. Alva was the first lady to be manager with the Sherwood Credit Union and had a long, successful career. When Michael was terminally ill, Alva was by his side and assisted him with his every need. After his death, she became guardian, aka Gma, to Peyton. When Alva retired, with help from her team, she renovated the little house to make it her retirement home. Many good times were had with family and friends. Good life and cheers to all. Love lots, Alva. In the Bible, there are 2 verses in 1 Peter chapter 3 that say, Jesus, who has gone into heaven and is at God's right hand with angels. Alva didn't talk about her faith every time we spoke, but from time to time when Alva talked about faith, she talked about angels. When our family was gathered here on June 15th, 8 years ago, when we said goodbye to my mom, Bonnie, Auntie Alva looked over at me with a knowing look. Like, you know that determined face she got? Sometimes that look when you didn't know if she was going to laugh or give you heck? Well, this time it was neither. Heck nor laughing. But it was something I will never forget. She came up to me later and said, "Your mom will always be with you. She is watching over you. She is an angel now." That gave me a lot of comfort. And now I know she is watching over all of us, and knowing that can give us comfort. After these few memories, I will invite anyone who'd like to share one, please come up. When I was young, my mom would take me to the credit union, where Auntie Alva was the branch manager. My mom would strut in, like actually strut, and say, "Can I please speak with Alva? She's my sister." I could tell even at a young age that my mom was so proud of her. We'd sit down in her comfy chairs in front of her huge, and I mean huge, desk and have a quick visit, but not too long. My mom would always say, "We can't stay too long. Auntie Alva is very busy." Those days I would sit there where they were visiting and imagine myself sitting behind a desk someday. From my first visit, I wanted to be like her. My whole life, I looked up to her, successful, hardworking, and still raising 3 busy kids. I wish I would have had the chance to tell her that. At that time, she was actually in charge of a special project, the first one in Canada actually, testing the idea of bank cards to use at establishments for payment instead of cash or check. The Buy Right drugstore beside the bank was the testing location for these bank card transactions. And now, of course, we all know that this is what we refer to as Interact. What a pioneer she was. And speaking of hardworking, it wasn't just at the office. Those of you that spent time at her house in the spring would have seen the hundreds of plants, and her and Auntie Avis and Auntie Eunice and whoever else they could rope in to help out would start from seed and then transplant out to the cottage at Rowan's Ravine. She would grow, she would touch the plants, talk to them, and encourage them to grow. Now, I don't know about you, but I tell you, when she talked to those plants, they listened. She had the most amazing flower beds and gardens, not to be outdone by her mom and the other aunts and uncles, for that matter. Later in life, you could find her in Craig and Clint's yards, talking to the plants, encouraging them, and yes, those plants listened too. And speaking of getting roped into stuff, she absolutely loved having her family and friends out at the cottage. We all loved it there, from eating from her garden to running through the sprinklers, crayfish hunting, and throwing crayfish in your cousin's hair, Clint and Craig. But before the fun, and definitely before you were allowed to either go on the boat or hang out in the gazebo that Grandpa built, you had to do some rock picking. There was never a shortage of rocks for rock picking, but we all grabbed a few, and before you knew it, the work was done and we were ready to have a few drinks in the gazebo and the festivities would begin. Auntie up there, auntie over there were aunties everywhere. And Auntie Alva was in her element, family and friends around her, chair dancing her heart out. Family meant everything to her. Every time her and my mom chatted, and then in recent years, every time her and I spoke, she always brought me up to date on her kids, grandkids, and great-grandkid. So proud of Clint and Craig and their business, Mike and Peyton and their beautiful cottage house. I just loved how she said Peyton's name. She always said Peyton. I just loved it. She was so proud of all of you. Faith and your beautiful family, and all of the boys growing up like their dads. Her family truly made her heart full. Would anyone else like to share a memory?
Well, I was gonna talk about Mom taking us to credit union. But that is true. She took us there all the time, and like every time I go past the one on Elphinstone and 4th. There's like an arch. There's like little elephants and stuff on the very top. That's why I remember that. But we would go and see her all the time I never put it together till later that Mom was just really proud of like Alva being a businesswoman. You know, like having her shit together. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that you girls got onto that. That's why she was bringing us there, I think, so.
Yeah.
Same memory, but my take.
Now, Avis and I shared our memories on the back of the memory card, by the way. That's our memories. That's all we can talk about right now.
Jill, why didn't you talk about the car wash?
Okay. We didn't grow up with nice new cars or anything extra. So one day, for some reason, Alva was taking me out to Colesdale to meet everybody. And it was just me and her, and I got in her big, luxury, beautiful car, and I was sitting in the back of the leather seats, and she said, we just need to do a quick car wash before we head to Colesdale. And I thought, okay, I can help with that, which entailed buckets of water and soap and washing the car down. And all of a sudden we pull up to a gas station and we go through this drive-through car wash, which I had never been in my whole life. And I'm sitting in that big leather chair and I'm looking and I thought, this is the life. Yeah, no kidding.
That is amazing.
Craig has a story.
I guess. It's more recent though. This is so after Mom passed. Just as a reminder that people they really are looking over us. Mom was the type of person that you know, if we did our things, we got our allowance, or we got if you can earn money through mom pretty easily. And nonetheless, Tara and I we're coming out just to check on the house, the small house, and we were doing the yard work, the mowing the lawn. And here I am, weed whacking, and didn't even make it 40 feet down the fence line, and whipped up a $20 bill that, like, literally, I'm sure she placed it there prior, just knowing that I was going to be out there to catch this thing and pocket it as a thanks for doing a little bit of work there for her.
That's a good memory. Anyone else? Well, for those of you that want to share a memory later, we can back at the hall. Clinton Craig, I invite you to come up. Okay. We commend to God Alva, and we commit her ashes to their resting place. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bless her and keep her. May your face shine on her and be gracious to her. Look upon her with favor and give her peace. Amen. You can now place the urn.
Probably taught me how to tie this bow.
I'm sure she did. Clinton Craig, I'll ask you to place a few petals on the urn. If anyone would like to come and place some petals on Alva's urn, you are welcome to do that now. These petals today were gathered together by her sisters, Eunice and Alva from their flower beds. Eunice and Avis. thank you for Alva, who is so special to us, who now lives in our memories. We know that she will go on living in us, her family, in Clinton Craig and your beautiful families, and her friends, in our hearts and in our memories. Alva's family, us here today, and those who could not be here, were an important part of who she was and what she loved. Today, let us become closer to each other, enjoy each other's company the way that she loved to be with us. May we comfort each other when we miss her, laugh with each other when we remember her, and hope with each other when we think about when we will see her again. And until that time, let us live our life in gratitude and happiness, knowing that we had a better life because she was a part of it. I invite you to bow your heads. Dear God, you have walked with us through grief and loneliness before, and we ask you to walk with us again now. Be our quiet but steadfast companion now and in the days to come. May the peace that love brings be with us all today and forever. Amen.